Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and today I'm here with Caitlin Bates from Marzocco Home, Australia. And we're looking at these three Marzoccos and working out what the differences are. So let's take a look at the first machine in the range, the Marzocco GS3 AV. But before we dive into this machine, just want to welcome Caitlin Bates to the channel and find out more about your role with Marzocco.
Hey guys, I'm from Marzocco Home. I run the home department for Marzocco Australia. I'm so excited to be here today with Pedro to show you guys our domestic range.
And firstly, I know this sits in the middle of the range, but the GS3 AV was the first one in the range that came out in 2007. So this one really opened up the door to Marzocco Home in Australia. And I'm kind of curious to know how this one sits in the range between the Mini and the MP.
This machine definitely straddles the line between domestic and commercial machines. It can be used either as a commercial machine for a small business or for someone who's looking for a little bit more capability with their home machine. I think that the volumetrics on this machine are a really great feature. If you want a little bit more automation with your coffee machine, then this is going to be the best option for you. You do also have the full immersion style boiler, which goes directly into a bigger reservoir of water compared to the Mini, and that's going to allow you to pump out a lot more volume than something like the Linea Mini would.
Yeah, so the Mini has the integrated 170ml almost instant heat boiler, and this is the full saturated, I think it's 1.5 litre brew boiler. So from a coffee side, there's going to be differences, and with the volumetrics. From the steam side, they've got very similar boilers. I think this is 3.5, 3.6.
3.5 for this one, yeah.
Very similar to the Mini, right?
Yeah. So the difference between the GS3 and the Mini, the main difference with the steam boilers is this one you can actually change the temperature of the steam boiler. So if you want
got
to
the PID
drop,
control.
Yeah, which some people will look for as a feature in the machine, whereas the Mini is just 127 degrees and you can't change that.
One cool thing about all three units in the range is that they have their water reservoir hidden just behind the drip tray, meaning that if you are using in the markets or in a cafe or be a smaller cafe or an office environment, you can pile up the cups on top here without having to move the cups to refill the water reservoir. Obviously all three of them can be plumbed in, and with the GS's they come with a plumbing kit. With the Mini it is an extra that you have to buy. It is kind of different having the volumetrics compared to the Mini where you're watching your shot, and on the MP you got flow control, but this one does sit in a nice middle ground that could be in an office or a home or even a coffee cart and just pump out that volume. One noticeable difference between the GS and the Mini is you can adjust the hot water temperature for your long blacks. There's a little dial here and you can bleed in some cold water, so a lot easier to run long blacks at the correct temperature than you can in the Mini. But in saying that, it's not really here or there a difference. Kind of, which one do you guys see as the most popular for home at the moment? Would it be the Mini?
Honestly, the Mini for domestic users, and the biggest reason for that is probably aesthetics. As you can kind of see, this is a little more industrial looking. People really like the silhouette of the Mini for home.
Yeah, and the colours too.
Yeah, the colour range as well.
In saying that, there is a lot of mod parts you can get for this, like from wooden panels to glass to powder coating. I've seen these customized and really personalized. So there is that journey you can go. And I know that some people do like, this machine was based on the original Marzocco GS, so it's followed the same kind of look. Marzocco actually did release a GS body panels for them for those that wanted the retro look. So there is a bit of nostalgia with the history of this machine. In saying that, the Mini is also based on the Linea Classic, which also has nostalgia. Like for me personally, I had a Linea, it's actually sitting at the back here, Linea Classic when there was a commercial one group at home, which was 15 amp hour external motor. It was a bit hard to have at home. But when the Mini came out, although I had an MP at the time, I had to get a Mini because they do look, they just got a look.
They're very cute.
Yeah, they're cute.
They're super cute.
I'm not sure publicly normally say that, but they do have an aesthetic appeal. So
Yeah.
with this, we got the volumetrics. After this was released in 2007, came the MP, which was a manual paddle, which allowed for flow control, and that changed espresso up a bit. The rest of the machine remained the same. Should we get the MP up and look at what the differences are from the AV to the MP?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So moving up from the GS3 AV, we got the MP, which is the manual paddle. And the main difference from the AV to the MP really is this section here. So we're moving away from volumetrics and now have, to a certain degree, flow control, where it can run 3, 6, and 9 bars of espresso. And the way they've done that is when this moves over, it activates the micro switch, which activates the rotary pump, and there's a bypass valve. So it bypasses, when you're running 3 bars, it's effectively bypassing 6 and so forth. So that was the main difference, and it allowed a lot more control of espresso, and to be able to move that pre-infusion, post-infusion, control that body in the middle. That was a technical difference on the machine. Who are you finding buys this machine compared to say, an AV?
This machine is definitely more for those people that are coffee enthusiasts, people that are looking to play with recipes and try their coffee over a variety of different pressures, which this machine enables you to do. You can really nail down flavor nuances when you change the pressure of the coffee, so people really enjoy that feature on this machine. For that reason, we do also find that these are super popular with roasteries because they want to experiment with their coffee. Yep, and taste it over a variety of different pressures just to make sure that it's tasting good no matter what machine you're running the coffee on.
Yeah.
It's always going to be perfect.
Yeah, so you're really looking at this as having a lot more control on the coffee
Definitely.
side. From the steam side, hot water, obviously the features, the drip tray, the water reservoir, we're still the same as the GS3 AV, just allowing to dive into espresso and kind of really geek out, if I have the right word.
Definitely. I think it's important to note with this machine as well, the buttons here just allow you to access the menu and change the settings on the machine, as opposed to the AV, which has the auto volumetrics. This one doesn't have that capability. It also doesn't allow you to do an auto backflush setting, whereas the AV does.
Okay, yeah, forgot about that. In saying that, all 3 in the range have access to, they've got IoT built in, so they've got access to the app, and you can control a fair bit of the machine, from scheduling to brew temperatures. On the GS ranges, you can do the steam pressure as well through the app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have access to change all of the settings on all of our machines. The main difference is with the Mini, it has to be through the IoT app, whereas with the GS3 AV and the MP, you can actually do that through the machine itself.
I know it's a simple feature, but the scheduling is something I've always liked, them coming to machines. I used to buy the Belk and Wemo timers and have the timer turn them on and off, but it always looked a bit weird on the wall, so it's just nicer that it's all inbuilt now, and it's actually a feature I use at home.
That's a favorite feature of our customers, definitely.
Yeah. It's a simple feature, but it's there. And should we now look, moving from this, now these were released in 2007, moving forward, in 2015, La Marzocco released the Mini, which is effectively the main home machine now. Probably should get a Mini up on counter if we're talking about it. So
Yeah, definitely.
abracadabra, let's pop this one out and get the Mini up. The Mini. Now, this one was released in 2015, so it's the newest of the range, and I know it's your favorite. I know you have one. What's your favorite color in the Mini range?
It'd have to be the yellow.
Mine's blue, if anyone's asking. The yellow, why yellow?
I think the yellow for me, because when you get up in the morning, step into your kitchen to make yourself a coffee, it's like looking outside at a sunny day. It's such a good mood.
So they now come in black, white, blue, yellow, red. And I know we just mentioned earlier there's limited editions coming out, and they've got it's called the Classic, is it? The 30-year?
So the limited edition that's just been released by us is called the Legacy Mini.
The Legacy Mini,
And
that's
it is
right.
in the traditional cream and vermilion, like the original.
It's got that
Classic.
retro look.
Yeah.
So this machine, who's it for? Obviously, it sits below in the price point sense to the GS3s, the AV and the MP, and also is newer. So how does it fit in the range? And I know you have one, but what makes this one kind of so cool and so special?
This machine is a commercial machine shrunk down into a tiny package. So you've got everything internal, including the pump. It runs off a reservoir as well, like the GS3s. This machine was made as our first true domestic machine, whereas the GS3s really were sort of branching over that middle ground of, is it commercial, is it domestic? It kind of fits into both, whereas this one is really just for domestic users.
It has a water reservoir, it can be plumbed in, and I know they're for domestic users, but these things are little beasts, like they can really be used. I know that for a coffee cart it's generally an AV, but I've seen these on carts and people do get away with them, even though they're more for a home machine. So one of the cool little features is as you turn your lever here and activate your group head, the lights turn on. So I know it's a tiny feature, but having the cups there and the lights turning on, making a coffee, there's something about it that makes me smile. And it's only 2 little lights, like it's not revolutionary, but it does have that nice little
A lot of thought went into this machine, even down to the brew boiler, which we developed a whole new technology to get it to heat up faster than the GS3. So this will heat up in 10 to 15 minutes, which is really cool.
Because you got the 170ml instant boiler.
Yeah, and the brew screw as well. So that just
changed the... So we have actually done a review of this machine. To dive in, obviously now we're not making coffees, we're just talking about which machine. We have done a full review. You can click here to have a look at everything about this machine. And we've also done with Eric from La Marzocco a review of the GS3s. And you can also click here to have a look at the GS3s in detail, making coffee. At the moment, we're just kind of looking at the 3 machines and what's best for each person. Now, from what I understand, to break it down, you got the Mini, it's pretty, it's made for homes, it can be plumbed in, but it's probably designed to be run from a tank. Instant heating, you got huge steam capability, and it's just pretty, multiple colors, so it's really your home machine.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our domestic machine option. So if you're looking for one for home and you want it to be simple to use, then this is the one for you.
Kind of like beautiful design, well built, simple to use.
Definitely.
And then we move to La Marzocco GS3 AV, volumetric controls. Probably going to see it on a coffee cart or somewhere a bit busier, an office. Really repeatable AV, so volumetric. Going to get the same shot after shot. Very stable machine, huge steam, can be plumbed in, but effectively sitting a little higher than this, more in the commercial realm.
Definitely.
And then you got the MP, really for the geeks, the coffee roasters, the specialists, really wanting to play with coffee, flow control, espresso, diving deep into that. Still gonna have the milk characteristics of the AV GS3 MP, kind of like both, and actually quite similar to this, where they all got really dry steam, really focused on milk, but you got that full coffee control. And then we haven't actually covered it today, but you've got the La Marzocco lever, absolute crazy one group machine.
That's next level.
That's
if you really want to step it up.
Which we are doing, but and that's like a whole different ballgame, so we're not even going to compare it in this video.
Absolutely. I think the most important thing to remember about our machines is that when you're choosing between them, you just have to think about which of the specific features we've talked about today sounds more like you, but all of these machines are going to make the same quality of espresso.
And if we are looking at your favorite machine, the second thing you have to think of is which color.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've already picked blue, it's the same. You've got yellow, and I know the guys behind the camera all have different colors, black, white, and Danny wants red. So I guess we need one machine each.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best solution, is just get one in every color.
The last one in the range that we didn't discuss was this tiny little Mini. It's not really part of the range, but it is cute. More importantly, thank you for coming in today, Kaylin. I've learned so much from you and which machine is appropriate to which. We've obviously worked with each other over the years, but it's nice to be here on camera and kind of talk to everyone about them.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so nice to explain the differences between our 3 domestic machines, and I hope that that's helped you guys at home figure out which machine you should buy.
And if you have any questions for me or Kaylin, leave a comment below, we'll get back to you. And like always, if you found some value in this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you again, and thank you, Kaylin.
Thanks so much.